Good evening. It is Thursday, July 21st, and my name is Bill McCamley. I'm a New Mexico State representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla, and this is your legislative update for the day. I have some not great news today. We've learned in the committee that I was at up in Santa Fe earlier today that the amount of revenue coming into the state in terms of taxes for income taxes and gross receipts taxes, which is another word basically for our sales tax, are a lot lower than the projections that we made in January and February to fund all the things that the state does, like teacher salaries, higher education, COPS, programs for hungry kids, all those things. We're probably going to need to go back to Santa Fe in the next couple of months and cut many of these programs. And this is a really, really hard thing because we've already had to cut so much. And locally here in Las Cruces, we've seen some specific examples of that. Our school system is getting $2.7 million less than they got last year, even though there's the same amount of students, which means there's going to be less teachers next year to teach the same amount of kids, and we probably won't get as good educational outcomes for our kids. Our university at New Mexico State is probably going to have to cut programs, and some people will probably be fired because they don't have as much money. The homeless program here for veterans that I care deeply about, we have found the money locally to make up for that, and I'm very proud of my fellow citizens for figuring out how to bridge that gap, but that's not a long-term solution. And we've got functional zero homelessness for veterans here in our community, but if we don't find ways to bring that back up, there's a real danger that that program could go away and we could have more homeless vets. And we recently saw a problem with the SNAP program. These are food stamps that hungry kids need to get their basic calories every day so they're not starving. And we've seen budgetary pressures for some people in that organization to give out less of those than they were given before. And these are the very real, very concrete products of legislative choices. When the legislature chose to cut taxes on the wealthy in terms of income taxes and capital gains, we put all our eggs in this oil and gas basket. And when oil prices go down, not only do oil and gas taxes go down, but the jobs that were employed by the oil and gas sector aren't there anymore, and so they're not paying in income taxes. The people in the oil and gas sector that were buying clothing and furniture and cars and all those things that contributed to our tax revenue, they're not buying those anymore. Furthermore, our manufacturing has actually gone down, and this is a real problem because there were specific tax cuts given in 2013 for the manufacturing sector. And what's that shown us is that to create real jobs and a long-term economic future for our state, we've got to focus on education, and we've got to focus on infrastructure. And we've got to find ways of funding those things, or else it's going to be this cyclical downturn where state doesn't have money to fund education and infrastructure, so the jobs leave, so we get less money, so more jobs leave, and so on and so on and so on. And I think there's some low-hanging fruit we can look at. We should legalize marijuana. We should do that as soon as possible. Colorado's brought in $120 million a year or so to help fund their educational programs. We can do that here. Stop cartels from getting the money and bring it here. We should look at getting rid of some of the tax breaks that we've given to wealthy people through capital gains breaks and cuts in income taxes to help stabilize our tax system and create a fairer system and more revenue to fund things that give everyone a chance to succeed in our capitalist economy. And we should really focus on the things that we can do to diversify our economy away from just the federal government and oil and gas. Things like work on border trade, work on value-added agriculture, work on the film industry that seems to be doing well, develop our aerospace industry. We've got to be really, really focused and target on these things because the jobs they create pay well, allow people to live good lives, and also create more tax revenue so we can do those things like fund education and COPS. So unfortunately, that is the update for the day. But as always, if you have questions, comments, and concerns on these or any other issues, I'd love to hear them, and I will keep you updated on the special session information as much as I can. Thanks, everyone, and hope you all have a great Friday and a great weekend. Bye.